Hey y'all, I'm Kelly Hay Smith, and this is the Social Takeoff podcast. This is where travel advisors come for marketing advice that actually makes sense. Not trends, not noise, just real, clear thinking, strong perspective, and building a business that actually works for you. Let's get ready for takeoff. Hey guys, happy new year and welcome to the first episode of the new year, from the full episode, I should say, of the Social Takeoff podcast. How are y'all? I hope you're having a great day. I hope you had a great new year and a great holiday season. And I hope you're ready to get to it. So I'm going to share a little bit about what I want to talk about today. But let's just say, so personally, I love a first of the year. I love a first of the month. I love Monday. I like that clean start. And historically, I have gotten a little nutty when it comes to New Year's resolutions. I have, number one, tried to do way too many things. I'll have 4 goals for multiple sections of my life and all of these things. And sometimes I stick with it for a couple months and sometimes I don't. And it's never really worked out. And what I have had, the end of 2025 was kind of a hard year. And what I have learned from that is that I want a feeling. I want to cultivate a feeling. I want presence. I want warm and cozy and welcoming and seen and heard and really focusing on everything that I'm doing when I'm at it. When I am working, I want to be fully present here with you when I'm recording and on my Instagram DMs and all of those things. I want to be very present. I want to be present in every meeting I take. When I'm creating content for Wonderless Campus, I want to be fully into that. And then when I walk out of this office, I want to be fully present at home. I want to have game nights and movie nights where I'm not distracted by phones or computers or other things. I want to have my hands in dough and I want to read more. I've actually gone and set screen time limits on my own socials because in my line of work, it can be really hard to get caught in that scroll hole. And so I am really focusing on those things. And when I was talking about that and the feeling that I wanted to create, my word of the year is inhabit. And the definition I'm using for that is to fully dwell. So I want to fully dwell in whatever I am in at the moment. But when I was thinking through that, what I was going to do personally, I was like, well, that's what I want to create for you all is a feeling with your marketing. A feeling that you're letting grow of frustration and disappointment and feeling like a failure and really understanding. And in order to create that feeling, we're going to have to understand. And so that's what we're talking about today. We are going to put social media in the box it needs to be put in. And we are going to understand what might be hurting your marketing and how to fix it and how to let some of this off your shoulders. So the first thing I want to talk about is this unrealistic expectation of social media. So when most people tell me that their social media isn't working or their marketing's not working, what they mean by that is, especially when it's social media, number one, nobody's filling out some sort of survey form all the time telling them that they found them on Instagram or they found them on Facebook or whatever. Nobody's telling them that. They are always being told, I found you on Facebook or I found you on Google or such and such told me about you, and they're not getting that lead directly from a social media site. That is one thing that often happens. If you remember, or you watched last one, if I keep looking down, it's because my iPad has my notes on it. There's no engagement. People, maybe it's a low click to open or a low open rate on your emails. Maybe it is not, you feel like you should have more followers or you're not getting a bunch of likes or you're not getting a bunch of comments. The views are down or whatever. Those two pieces are what people tend to tell themselves that they are having either success or failure with marketing. And I am here to tell you that those things don't measure success. They just don't. That does not matter in the grand scheme of things. The success part comes from knowing you did it well, strategically, on purpose, intentionally. All those things are synonyms. I don't care. They're all worth being said. That is what will make the difference. There's this huge myth out there that postings equal bookings. So the more I post, the more bookings I should have. But activity does not equal strategy. And just being busy and posting all the time does not mean you're posting what people need to see in order to become a client, especially if they are coming to you because such and such told them that you would be great to work with them and all they see are a bunch of facts. Then what? I'm not connecting with them. Following this should plan, this plan of I should post 3 days a week, 3 times a week. I should post at least one reel. My reel should only be 8 seconds long, and I should have 3 to 5 hashtags, and I should have all of those things together are really a disservice to your business because you are posting with a checklist in mind. This idea that if I copy this formula that this big, huge influencer in the social media world told me I should do, then I will get everything that I'm dreaming of in my social media. But the truth of the matter is that's not real. You're expecting to follow these exact rules and then have these identical results, right? And that's one of the things that really grinds my gears. When I see a social media person who's like, I gained 8,000 followers in one day, let me tell you how I did it. You can't follow exactly what they did and expect 8,000 followers in one day. It doesn't work like that. And when it doesn't, because they told you it would, you start to internalize failure. Marketing is hard because all marketing is trying something, failing, adjusting it, and failing better next time. For a pathological people pleaser, hello, that's me. A job where literally I have to fail, learn, and try better the next time is hard because I don't like that feeling. But I have learned to accept it because that's where the real growth comes from. And if all I'm doing is I'm just following these checklists from people who don't know my business, who don't know my industry most of the time, and I'm just focusing on a checklist, I've lost before I've started. And I really want to take that weight off of you. I want to take the weight off of you and tell you to throw the checklist away. You know the checklist, 8 things to do before you post, and follow this exact Reels template and you'll get XYZ. Like, sure, I can help you with some tricks and you'll find that on my Instagram, but I'm not going to promise you results. I'm going to promise you that I'm trying to help you make it easier or understand it better. But I'm not going to promise you results because results are personal. They are based on your business. And we have to understand what we're actually looking for when it comes to social media rather than here's a list of things and do it this way. Example, I've probably told this story on here before, but I will tell it forever. I had one reel in early of 2023 that went viral. And I gained 8,000 followers overnight. There was like 500,000 views on it. There's like almost 1 million views on it now. 500,000 views on it. I gained 8,000 followers overnight. That was still when I was doing some private work as a social media manager and marketing manager for different agencies. It made zero impact on my business. Zero. None. But what does make an impact on my business is when I show up here authentically with you all. And I'm not, people are joining Wanderlust Campus because I'm showing up authentically. People are going to Wander Beyond Retreat because I am showing up authentically. People are DMing me and my account is growing and I'm building a community and I'm showing up with people because I show up here authentically, not because I had a reel go viral. The reel went viral. It did nothing for my business. I consistently show up, show you who I am, talk to you, build a community, share content that is perspective driven and not just 3 things to do. And I've grown. And I'm telling you from experience, I want you to get rid of these marketing checklists and this feeling of failure because we aren't putting it in perspective. So what is social media in your business? It's a part of your marketing strategy. It is a piece that fits in the full puzzle, but all of these things have to work congruently. They have to work together. They each have a place. And some of that is going to be your referral business and your word of mouth and your Google and your SEO and your website and long form content, whether it be blogs or videos or podcasts and email marketing and trade show and network marketing and those types of pieces. They all fit together, and social media plays a part of that. I have said this before, I'll say it again. Social media is a gap closer in your business. Now, if you have had a huge social media following before, or you have worked hard and built a social media following or a huge Facebook group, this part may not pertain to you as much. For those of you who have 400, 500 or less followers and you are struggling and you're like, I get 2 likes on a post, I don't understand this, I am here to tell you that social media closes the gap in your business. I do not care how they found you. You want them to go to your social media to learn who you are and how you think and what your perspective is and whether or not they like you enough to work with you. That is what your social media is for. It is not to post a bunch of facts that they could get someplace else. It is to highlight who you are and how you think. And when you can make that shift, you can make a difference in your business. When people hear about you elsewhere, when they hear about you from their cousin's hairdresser, right? And they go to your social media, they're looking for a few things. They are looking to see if they like you. Like, is this person cool? Do they match my vibe? All the things. Do they trust you? Spitting out facts people can get anywhere is not going to build trust anymore. Sharing your perspective is how you're going to build trust. And in order to do that, you have to show up. Okay? And do you sound competent? And I ain't talking about being all prim and proper and not in a hoodie sitting on a couch laid back. You could absolutely be sitting in a hoodie and on a couch laid back. But do you sound competent? And you can build and showcase competence based on the way you're talking about things, the perspective that you're sharing, right? And when they land there, they A, find nothing, meaning you're not posting, you're not sharing. B, they're bored because they're not getting anything there that they can't get Google, AI, whatever. Or they fall in love with you. Or they don't, right? There's kind of a D there. They don't. You're not their vibe. They are turned off by all of your Taylor Swift references and pictures and vinyls, and they don't love baking as much as you do or reading romance novels. So they're like, nah, this is not my girl. That's okay. That's okay, because your marketing is there to repel as many people. But they could fall in love. But they can't fall in love if you're not there. They can't fall in love with you if they don't see you there. Are you missing from your own marketing? See, social media can't work as your gap closer. It can't help you close clients, no matter how they find you, if you're not there. Meaning, if all you're showing up is ship pictures and room tours and facts that they could get on Google or ChatGPT, but your perspective isn't there, how you think isn't there, how you manage things isn't there, how you make decisions isn't there, your opinions are not there, your personality is not there, they can't fall in love. They can't fall in love with something that they aren't seeing. And social media is, and this is what this week's Soapbox is about on Friday, so I'm not going to go too far into that, but Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, posted within the last week about AI and human-generated content and how they are going to have to work to differentiate between the two because it's gotten really good, right? So people are already going into things not trusting because they don't trust their own eyes anymore. We have always been able to trust what we see with our eyes, and people aren't trusting that anymore. AI can't give perspective and opinion and feeling and emotion because it's not human. You are there for that. So when you show up as you authentically and actually show up and share the things that you think, that's when you create a community that cheers you on and is behind you and looks for what you're saying and wants your opinion on something. Those things are what people need to see from you if you want to close the gap, right? Your website is going to be kind of factual. There may be some blogs that are perspective, but it's going to be kind of factual. Yes, your services should be there, but it's not going to be as opinionated as what your social media content can be. You can really showcase the way that you think. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to talk about a sandals resort, Sandals St. Vincent. I loved it. One of my favorite places. I went all year last year. Okay. Let's say you want to talk about Sandals St. Vincent and you want to talk about, and I'm making this up. I do not know this is true. Do not make a post on this. Okay. But let's say that you want to make a post about how at Sandals St. Vincent, no room is more than 4-minute walk away from food. Rather than saying 300 yards to the main building from the furthest room, blah, blah, blah. 4 minutes, because maybe you've walked it and you can do a time lapse or a video of you walking. You're showcasing something that you know through experience. I would never do, that is a perspective. That is a fact, but it's also a perspective that you've gained because you've earned it, right? Rather than saying, here are 3 of the most popular resorts in the Bahamas, I could say, here are 3 resorts I would never put a family of 5 in the Bahamas. And you talk through that, right? Here are 3 questions I ask every client before helping them choose their cruise itinerary. I'm telling them how I think. Here's one ship I would never put a family on. Here's one ship I would recommend to every family except this family, whatever. I'm starting to showcase the way I'm making decisions and how I'm thinking rather than 3 things you'll love about Icon of the Seas. That's just generic stuff. 3 things you should know about Icon of the Seas. And we're learning and we're growing on our content because of these things. And now nobody's content looks like mine. You want to make sure your insight, your judgment, your service, and your expertise, not your expertise of knowing facts, but your expertise of unique way of thinking is always included in your content. So when they go there, they can fall in love with you. Something else that I think is hindering the content and not helping be the gap closer is language. Now, the first one I'm going to say is not usually on content. So the first one I'm going to talk about is actually usually in language they talk. So when I ask an agent, what is it that you do? Tell me what value you bring. Tell me what it is that you do. They tend to say to me, I just book vacations or I just plan vacations. Just is self-limiting. Just is telling people, this is all I do. It's not that big a deal. We have to stop that, even to yourself or to others. You have to be able to define your service, to understand your value, or nobody else will. And we don't want to make ourselves smaller by using the word just. It's a limiting word. So that immediately comes out of your vocabulary. I have an entire podcast on this, so you can go back and listen to, but beyond the booking, stop saying, let me book your vacation. Inherently, people hear certain words and they have their own definition. Literally, we went through this with Wanderlust Campus not long ago. There were some words that we were using externally that had an internal definition. So we were defining them as a certain way internally with our team, and we were using them externally, but people didn't always use the same definition. It was a subjective term, right? And so as people were using this term in their own definitions, we were missing the mark because they weren't necessarily thinking of it in the same way we were. And so we had to go in and change a lot of these words to mean something else. Or not to mean something else. We had to change the words so that it wasn't so internally defined. And the booking is one of those words. Because when you say, let me book your trip, a lot of people inherently are like, well, I can do that because I do that on Expedia. I can just push the button. When to you, booking your trip includes all of these other things, right? Like crisis management and price monitoring and research and all of these pieces, but they hear book and they think clicking a button, right? And that's not it. So we don't want to belittle ourselves by using a word that they may define in a totally different way. The other one that I hate, and it grinds my gears so bad, is it costs the same anyways, or my services are free. I can't stand it. Number one, people don't expect to get good service for free. They just don't. Number two, people sound like they're doing you a favor by booking the trip with you. You are providing a valuable service. Act like it. I don't care if you charge fees or not. Stop saying it's free to work with me. It doesn't cost you any more anyway. That's saying, what can it hurt? What do you have to lose? Like, that's not it. They won't see the value if you don't tell them the value. And by telling them that it's free anyway, is like that the only value is that it's free. And that's just not true. And I think when we are putting those things out, and that's what people are seeing when they land on our social media, it's not closing the gap because it's not showcasing the value of, oh my gosh, yes, I want them to do that for me. And so we have to change that perspective and what it is that we're thinking about in order to get there. FYI, everyone who lives in I need to keep going, but like everyone who lives in my house right now is in my house right now. And so if you hear children out there, it's because there's children in the house. And this is what being a working mom, working from home looks like. And it's real. I talked about that in the last episode, show the reality. So here's the reality. Okay. So this content, this idea of saying the same things and posting all of these facts, this Googleable info, doing that and like always falling back on that, in my opinion, a lot of times comes from the fear of not standing out. The deal is, if you post facts about sandals or facts about Icon of the Seas or facts about the Disney Destiny and nobody likes it, nobody comments, nobody saves it, it feels a lot less personal than when you post things that are your opinion, your perspective, and nobody does anything. It feels more personal because it feels like they're coming at you or they're not engaging with you. First off, lurkers are real. People aren't engaging on social media as much as they did, number one. But that's not the point. The point is not to garner a bunch of likes and comments. The point is, am I putting content out that when a potential client lands here, no matter how they came, they are learning about working with me, my thought processes, who I am, and the decision making, and are we vibing? Are we the same vibe? Are they landing here and seeing that? That is the only success versus failure in content creation. Am I furthering that goal? And we are going to talk about business goals and how to create your content around that and all of those things. But first, we have to understand why in the world I need to make sure I am front and center in my marketing and in my content, because that is what's going to like create that shift for you. The other thing is, we think about expertise as knowing things, right? I can tell you how much I know by reciting facts. Instead, I want you to shift your idea of expertise and saying it's more than just knowing facts. It's understanding a unique perspective on that set of facts. Because of X fact, this is why I wouldn't recommend this for X type of client. Okay? That is perspective that incorporates facts. Facts are not inherently bad, but facts are they're not setting you apart anymore. You have to focus in on perspective. And that does mean changing a lot of the things that you're doing, I have no doubt, but it will change the game in your business. Expertise shows up in perspective more than facts. Anybody can Google AI facts. But your perspective sets the change, right? That sets you apart. Did I get everything? I didn't go in the same order. Fun fact, I recorded this entire episode and went to edit it and upload it, and the mic wasn't working. So I've started over again, and I changed the order because I like this order better. But, anyway, I think I got it all. Okay, yeah, other than homework. Okay, so here is the homework. You are going to start, at least for this month, because we are tying our success and failure so tightly to vanity metrics like views and followers and likes and comments. You are only going to be allowed, I'm telling you, I'm like, if you're not watching this, I'm wagging my finger at you. You are going to be allowed one look per month, a data day, where you look at your metrics a month. That's when you're going to look at your views. That's when you're going to look at likes. Obviously, I need you to respond to comments before once a month, but we're not looking at the number of comments. We're just going to be happy that they're there. We're not looking at vanity metrics more than once a month because we are going to put those in their place. And that means we are going to use them as data. We are going to, like I told you, my house is full. There's just people yelling. Anyway, you are going to use those metrics as data information. You are not going to use those on whether or not you are successful or failing, because that's not the mark of that. The mark of that, if they come to your content and they see more of you, they see your perspective, they learn how you think, they understand what value you provide, that's a win for the content. I don't care if 2 people saw it, doesn't matter. I need 2 of the right people to see and understand my value and connect with me. That's what makes the difference. So that's your homework assignment. 1 day a month. Now we're singing SpongeBob. Cool. 1 day a month, you are allowed to analyze the data. And that's the only day we're going to deep dive into those metrics, because then we're no longer connecting ourselves on a daily basis with that negative content or that negative idea. All right. So in the end of this one, I want you to know your marketing's not broken. Your marketing is not broken. You are not bad at it. Your system's not clear yet. Clarity will change everything. And this is where clarity is beginning. This is where it starts. You've got this. I'm here for you. I'm here with you, and you can do this. Okay. Now, I told you the last time that I would be doing a Taylor Swift song to every episode. And I chose this song for this episode for one lyric specifically. The song is You're on Your Own, Kid from the Midnight's album. And the lyric, the reason that I chose this is because the lyric says, everything you lose is a step you take. Just remember that. I'm losing the pressure of having to have this checklist marketing. I am losing the pressure of failing because I don't have enough engagement or views. I am losing the pressure of trying to keep up with the Joneses. I am losing the pressure of it has to be this long or it has to fill this. And all I'm going to do is show up authentically. You've got no reason to be afraid. Just show up. All right, guys. I will be back here on Friday for the first January episode of the Soapbox, which is where I get to just have a soapbox moment and rant because y'all know I love a good soapbox. And then new episode will drop again next Tuesday. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. I will see y'all next week or on the gram. Bye, guys. If this episode helped you think differently, that's the whole point. You can find more support inside Wonderlust Campus or come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks for spending time with me. I'll see y'all next week.